Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. The S&P 500 was up almost 1% today. A really nice bounce back from where we were yesterday with the 1.5% drop. Got a little ways to go to get back to an all-time high again, if that's what we're heading for here. We'll have to see how that plays out. But, I felt like the market had kind of a knee-jerk reaction yesterday. We still have to see how that plays out. But obviously, today's motion does help out in that concept. But altogether, new technology comes out, shows that, possibly AI can be developed for faster, cheaper on even weaker chips. And so it has to reset kind of all the earnings expectations for a lot of these companies. But if you look at it, if it's faster and cheaper and whatnot, that means there'll probably be more of it. So even though NVIDIA may not sell as many chipsets per AI installation, for example, they may have more AI installations because, again, it's faster and cheaper. And so I think overall, it's what it's going to do for us as a world and what it's going to do for earnings as a whole. So if you look back at the 95 to 2000, the dot-com, scenario that was happening then, at the time, we had no idea that dot-com was going to turn into the internet that we're using today. I mean, this is beyond any comprehension at that time frame. And so we're looking at everything kind of in this vacuum of what we know at the time. And we thought, oh, these things are too overvalued. The market sells off. And when you look at the value that the internet has created for the world as a whole now, you can see back those companies for, certainly the ones that are still here today weren't really overvalued as a whole. So it kind of depends on what AI ends up being for us as a world and as how that affects company earnings and all these different things. As to what will happen with the stock market and the earnings for these companies. So I think it's kind of interesting. I think, competition is good as a whole. It seems to be an important component of how things have worked for us over the long term. And so having companies that are doing things that, in a better way, I don't see what the big problem is as far as that goes. Now, if you are one of the direct competitors and you're making AI models yourself, and somebody else is making a better one, that could impact you as a company directly. But in terms of the overall stock market, when you look at the whole thing, I think it's a good thing. It's going to make this process maybe easier. And I would be surprised if this is the end of any of the types of surprises that we see in terms of what happens, because, there's a lot of money to be made here. And there's a lot of, technology happening behind the scenes that, will just pop out at some point in time. So it's a positive situation. Stock market is, on a roll. We've got a good momentum in the market. Earnings are here. So now starting on Wednesday, we really, start to get into the earnings reports from these big companies. I think that'll be very fascinating as far as that goes. Again, we're going to get back to the Federal Reserve here at some point in time there with their meetings and such too. So it's not a bad time frame to be in the stock market. And certainly, some of this dip buying that's coming in is kind of showing that too. So look forward to seeing what's going to happen tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Thank you very much.